Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 to 22. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times." Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. This is Jesus telling Peter to simply not count number of time you forgive someone that hurt you. But if you are to count, it has to be 77 times. As a believer that has experienced hurt from someone, you know how hard it can be when someone even close to us is the one that is behind the hurt. We have made up our mind not to forgive because of the severity of the hurt. We carry the burden years on years, causing us bitterness and anger. Unforgiveness poisons our souls. It never leaves us the same, but the act of forgiving, as hard as it can be, offers healing and freedom. When we choose to forgive, we are handing over resentment and desire for vengeance to God, trusting that He will deal justly with the person who hurt us. This allows us to move forward in peace. The pain of betrayal is one that is truly deep. Joseph was one who experienced the bitter experience of betrayal from those he considered family. Joseph's brothers betrayed him in the worst way. Out of jealousy and hatred, they sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. For years, Joseph languished in prison for crimes he didn't commit. He had every right to harbor anger and plots of revenge. But amazingly, when given power and opportunity, Joseph extended mercy to his brothers instead of retaliation. He told them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." He forgave fully and refused vengeance. Like Joseph, many of us carry wounds from betrayal. We replay offenses over and over. We feel victimized and want vindication. But holding on to unforgiveness only hurts us, not them. Where is God inviting you to forgive today? Who is God asking you to release and let Him heal you totally? Just like Joseph, you must be willing to take your hands off completely, and allow Him bring you out stronger and better. Unforgiveness keeps our hands tightly gripped around the desire for repayment and retaliation. But forgiveness is opening our hands and releasing our right to get even. It's admitting that vengeance doesn't belong to us. It belongs to God. Forgiveness is choosing to pray, "Lord, I release this situation and person into your hands. I trust you to handle it justly." It's releasing our grip and giving God control. Who do you need to forgive today? Where are you gripping too tightly? As you open your hands in faith, God will open your heart to heal. It is high time to set yourself free. Unforgiveness keeps us hooked to bitterness, trapped in a cycle of resentment. But forgiveness cuts those cords and sets our hearts free. Nelson Mandela said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for your enemies to die." Unforgiveness harms us, not them. But forgiveness frees our souls from the poison of resentment. and clears the way for joy. Beloved, what painful situation are you clinging to today? What offense keeps you awake at night? Plotting revenge that never satisfies? I encourage you, drink the refreshing water of forgiveness instead. Let it cleanse your soul and set you free. Forgiveness is not saying the offense was okay, or minimizing the seriousness of the wrong. Forgiveness is a deliberate act of surrender, trusting God to handle the situation justly in His way and timing. Forgiveness doesn't depend on the other person, apologizing or even acknowledging their offense. We forgive as an act of faith and obedience to God's instructions, entrusting the matter to our just and loving Father. What offense has wounded you? Where do you need to forgive? Don't wait for an apology. Release it as an act of trust in a God who promises to fight for you. You must understand that God's got this. He can handle this if only you'll let Him. Unforgiveness tries to take on God's rightful role as judge and jury. But He alone sees every detail and knows every heart involved. He promises to deal justly with all who have sinned. When you forgive, you are admitting, God, I don't have the full picture like you do. I trust you to make this right in your way. I relinquish my imperfect justice and entrust perfect justice to you. Let God be the judge. Surrender your scales of justice to His. Forgive by faith, knowing a just reckoning is coming. Those who have hurt us deserve justice, and by God's grace, we deserve the same. We too have sinned against others, intentionally and unintentionally. We have needed grace we didn't deserve. Forgiveness sets us free because it reflects the very grace that Jesus extends to us. We release others in the same way Christ has released us, fully and forever. Beloved, we all need mercy. Forgive as you have been forgiven. Release others just as you've been released by Christ's sacrifice. Grace always triumphs over judgment. Unforgiveness keeps us trapped in the same painful cycle. But forgiveness forges a new path of freedom and hope. Joseph's choice to forgive led to reconciliation and redemption. His mercy paved the way for God to bless him and his brothers abundantly. Again, I ask, beloved, who do you need to forgive today? Don't stay stuck in bitterness. Choose the path of forgiveness and see what restoration God will bring. The future is bright when we let go of the past. May God grant us the courage and grace to live as forgiving people, leaving room for His justice, not ours. Beloved, forgiveness will set you free. Let go of the poison of unforgiveness. Forgive by faith and allow God's redeeming grace to flow. Leave justice in His hands. He will heal your heart as you release others into His care. Take a moment and lift your voice to God today. Lord, I confess my heart has harbored unforgiveness. Help me fully release the situation to you. I relinquish my right to be judge and jury. I trust you to handle it justly. Thank you for the grace I've been freely given. Help me extend that same grace and forgiveness to others. I release this person and situation that has hurt me into your loving hands. In Jesus' name, amen.